In this video, what we're going to do is go through what monk mode actually is, because this is something that I'm about to, embark on myself. Is you could call this another season of push, or, what's sort of starting to become more and more popularized these days is now called monk mode. Now, essentially, what monk mode is I'll actually just read this here to make my life a little bit easier, and then I'll get into, a little bit of the meat and potatoes of where I'm at in my stage of my personal growth and business growth journey, and why that's applicable to now me entering into another season of monk mode or another season of push. Now, monk mode essentially refers to a state of extreme focus and discipline where what you basically look at doing is eliminating all of the distractions and essentially dedicate yourself fully to a particular goal or potentially a handful of goals. Now, the term monk mode comes from the disciplined and minimalist lifestyle associated with monks in various religious traditions. When you enter monk mode, you would typically cut out basically all non-essential activities, such as socializing, entertainment, or indulging in distractions like social media, basically so you can maximize your productivity and personal growth. This intense focus allows you to channel your energy and attention towards achieving your goals with increased efficiency and dedication. Now, the question then usually comes up like, well, how long does this monk mode last for, right? Well, monk mode can last for anywhere from sort of around 2 weeks, sort of 21 days is what most people tend to say to start with, all the way up to 90 days. Now, if you've never followed a monk mode period before of extreme focus and extreme discipline, like you might have done something like this in the past, but may have not declared it monk mode, then what I would suggest is you might just start with a smaller time frame. Anywhere from sort of 2 to 4 weeks is generally going to be pretty good. But if you're up for a challenge or you have done something like this before and you do feel like pushing things, then you can definitely take things as far as 90 days. The longer you go, obviously, the more chance you have at achieving a bigger goal, therefore reaping some bigger rewards. Now, the competitive side in me always has to do the most, because I know that 90 days is what most people won't do, which excites me because then I'm like, well, damn, if no one's going to do that, I'm going to fucking get in there and I'm going to do that shit. So that's kind of like what monk mode is in a nutshell. It's just a period of time where you just go fucking all in on a goal. It's literally as simple as that. I am looking at embarking in monk mode literally tomorrow from the time of filming this. So pretty much when I'll be starting is April 22nd, 2024, and I'll run that for a full 90 days or 3 months, which will end on July 21st, 2024. Now, what I want to do before I actually go through sort of my plan and my reflection and my strategy is I wanted to give you, like a little bit of a backstory on my journey itself, because it's going to be important that you do understand this, because you might see this and be like, holy shit, I don't even know if I'm capable of doing something like this, or this seems pretty intense. But it's important that you understand my journey and the point I'm at, because context is always going to be important. So I started sort of in the online coaching world in 2020. I launched the Bikini Body Project, which was my online fitness coaching business. I then grew and scaled that over the next couple of years to about $500,000 in sales. Roughly 97 clients was the most clients we had in the program. And when I say we, it was literally just myself and a virtual assistant running that business. Now, during that time, I developed an extreme passion for the business side of things. Like, I'm a little bit more of a geeky kind of guy. I enjoy the systems, I enjoy the computers, I enjoy the strategizing and the planning and the business stuff. So I ended up jumping the fence and hopping into the business coaching side of things. That's when things really started to kick off for me. Now, if I just accelerate that timeline forward a little bit, I've had a couple of different businesses in that period. I've had the fitness business, I had a marketing agency, I then did a few other little bits of consulting and stuff like that on the side. Then in June of 2020, where are we now? 2024, June of 2023, I launched what's called the Freedom Coach Formula, which at the time of filming this is my current business. Now, Freedom Coach Formula is essentially for online health and fitness coaches. Well, I should say health and fitness coaches looking at transitioning their coaching online. They may already have a couple of clients, they may have an established coaching system, but they're generally struggling with knowing how to structure the business model, how to get clients, how to increase their lead flow. Essentially everything is what we help them with inside of Freedom Coach. Now, the only reason why I'm sharing this is because in June, when I launched this business, I basically entered a season of monk mode. Now, that season of monk mode went for the better half of, I would probably say, 8 months, with 3 to 4 months of that of intense, extreme focus. There was a 90-day period right at the end where I just eliminated all distractions and just went all fucking in on my business. Now, that was an amazing time because I got a lot of work done, but that 6 to 8 months probably went for a little bit too long of just going and going and going and going and going. Now, was I successful with what I was working towards during this time? Absolutely. The business blew up. We've got a great client base inside of there now. Our clients are doing well. I've built out systems. I've built out automations. I've built out courses. Now I'm looking at diversifying offers and creating multiple products, multiple lead flow streams. I'm really diversifying the business now because I've built that super solid foundation. The thing is though, is once I finished that season of push or monk mode, I was pretty dead. I was pretty cactus. Like, I didn't think I was as bad as what I was. And I finished that sort of monk mode time pretty much at the beginning of December. I was in Bali, so I had done a couple of months here on the Gold Coast in Australia. Then I flew to Bali and I did a 90-day sprint in Bali, which could be like the monk mode, you could call it. I would like to say that I was in monk mode pretty much that entire time, but like the extreme focused side was definitely when I was in Bali, which was pretty much a 3, almost 4 month sprint. I came back from Bali, so I returned in, I think it would have been the end of November, basically the beginning of December. I've then had pretty much from December, January, February, and March, I've pretty much had those 3 to 4 months somewhat, I wouldn't say off, but I've definitely been taking things really, really slow. Why? Well, to be honest, the first month when I got back, I was just settling back into life in Australia, just finding my feet again, reestablishing some routines. And I didn't really pick up on how, I guess, I wouldn't say burnt out. I don't think burnout is the right term here, but I was definitely tired. I was definitely feeling the intensity dying off that I had, and my battery was running low. The check engine light, the low battery light was flashing. Let's just call it that. So December, I didn't really notice. And then January came around, and that's when I really decided to take things just a little bit slower in the business. And that's when it was just like a punch to the side of the head. I was just like, whoa. Then it really hit me how just low my battery was. Now, I wasn't experiencing fatigue. I wasn't experiencing being lazy or procrastination. What I was experiencing was just this sort of like lack of drive and desire to want to do anything. This does not mean that I lost the passion for my business. Like, that did not drop off once. I didn't lose the desire to want to do it or anything like that. However, I just lost the drive to want to build and continue pursuing and growing and sort of working towards my next goal. So I was in this denial period for about a month and a half. And I was like, what's going on? Like, maybe it's the change in routine. Maybe it's, maybe there's just something else going on. And then, it wasn't until I was like, actually, you know what? Maybe this is like the lag effect of going so hard for so long. So long story short, I then ended up having the next couple of months off right up until this point here. April 21st is the time of filming this. I go into monk mode tomorrow, but I would now like to say that I'm refreshed, I'm recharged, and I'm ready to rock and roll. And one of my most recent mentors talks about this a lot. He will say that there are seasons of pushing and building where you're just going hard, and then there are seasons of cruising and just taking things easy. I was in denial and didn't want to admit that I was almost forced into a season of cruising. But here's the thing, and here's one of a really big take home for you, is that you need to have these periods where you will go hard, and you do need to have these periods where you take things easy. Because you have to keep in mind is that the business that you're trying to build is to support the life that you want, not the reverse. But here's the thing, I was living the life that I'd been building my business to support over the last couple of months, and it felt weird because I couldn't accept the fact of going slow. Why? I think I was just so used to having so much momentum behind me that when I finally slowed down, it was like going from 100 to 0. So it probably wasn't the best. This is why this time round, I'm going to try and go for a little bit of a shorter monk mode period, 90 days, intense focus, and then now I know that I can flick that switch and then go into a season of cruising after this monk mode period. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit more about where I'm at, but I've been at this business building game for quite some time now. I've been in the coaching game since 2015, so I understand hard work, I understand work ethic, and something that you need to understand, that I understand, is that sacrifices need to be made to achieve the goals you want to achieve. And that's going to come down to sacrificing some of the things you love the most. It might be socializing, it might be hanging out with your partner, it might be going to dinner, it might be drinking alcohol. There's just all these things that you may have to cut back on in order to achieve the goals you want to achieve, which is why monk mode can be so handy, because it's not like you're cutting everyone out of your life and you're going, that's it, don't talk to me ever again. It's just a period where you just state to everyone, hey, look, for the next 90 days, I am still going to be present, I'm still going to be around, but I just need you to know that I'm going to be pulling back on a lot of things. When you make this clear to your friends, when you make this clear to your family, when you make this clear to your colleagues or whatever else, then they will be less inclined to want to hassle you to steer you off track. But this is why it's important to go through a blueprint task like this so you can gain clarity on what you need to focus on and what you need to essentially eliminate for a temporary period of time. So there are 3 steps to this, I guess, resource, task, whatever you'd like to call this. Now, there will be a link down below where you can swipe this. If you're watching this on my YouTube, then there's definitely going to be a link down below. If you're watching this somewhere else, then maybe just send me a message on Instagram and say, hey, can I get the monk mode blueprint? And I'll send it over to you so you can go through this yourself. But let's try to keep this timely. Step number 1 is we need to go through a period of reflection. So essentially what you can do here, and I'll walk you through all of my stuff. There's going to be full transparency through this. You want to rank the following out of 5. So basically your physical health, mental, emotional, partner love, family, friends, mission, experiences, spirit, finances, and learning. So for me, these were my scores. I'm not going to go through those sort of one by one, but for me, my physical health is at its peak right now. Maybe I will go through them. My mental, emotional state it feels amazing, but I feel like there's always room for more. Partner love, I'm currently single as a Pringle, not really focusing on relationships and stuff like that, so I've got to give that one a 0. My family, doing it my best at the moment with what I can do there, but I feel like, again, there's always room for more. Same thing with friends. Mission, I've never been more locked in ever over the last couple of years, and even though I've had a period going slow, I've still been locked in. Experiences, I've definitely been putting myself out there a little bit recently. I've been meeting people, making new friends, going and doing different things, so experiences are up there, which lives a more fulfilling life. Spirit is high. You know, even though I went through a couple of months of I wouldn't say I was sad, but just period of feeling a little bit low and flat, then even though there was that, my spirit was still there. Finances, they're in a pretty good spot at the moment. To be honest, they're the best they've ever been in my entire life. But again, based on what my goals are, there is still some room for improvement there. Learning, I would say, is a 3, even though at the time of filming this, I've just signed up with a new mentor. So that is most likely going to increase. Now, what you can do is once you rank these out of 5, you can multiply your answers or answer by 2, which will give you an overall percentage score out of 100. So I'm sitting at 76, so this is not too bad. But the perfectionist in me and the high achiever in me says that's not good enough. Now, we can take this a layer deeper. What were 5 of your accomplishments for the last 90 days? This is in business. What were 5 of your accomplishments for the last 90 days personal life? 5 major lessons, 2 things you wish you could redo, 3 opportunities that you missed out on, and then what were your weak points? So for me, in Freedom Coach alone, I was doing consistent 25K plus months, which was amazing. That's on monthly recurring revenue too, so very happy with that. I launched a group coaching offer that I was actually able to sell via a Google document at a 50% close rate, which I'm fucking wrapped with. It means no more sales calls, ideally. I rebuilt the entire Freedom Coach course curriculum, and I actually helped a handful of our coaches go from literally 0 to over $10,000 a month in their online coaching businesses, which is also super cool. 5 personal accomplishments. I purchased one of my dream cars, so I've recently purchased an Audi RSQ3, which I absolutely love. It goes fast, and I wish it went a little bit faster, but it's really cool. It's not a Lamborghini Urus, that's what I want, but it'll do for now. I was able to furnish my basically dream apartment, which was cool. I've planned a trip to Dubai, which is directly after our October retreat in Bali. If you're not a client of ours in Freedom Coach and you'd be interested in coming to that, provided that hasn't already happened, then reach out to me and I'll definitely be able to give you some details on that. I got out of my comfort zone by meeting and talking to new people. I've made a lot of new friends. I've been on a few dates. I've been in some times where I wouldn't normally speak to people, which is good, and I feel good about that. And then finally, I was able to feel happy and content with where my physique is at. If you're a typical gym goer, you would know that body dysmorphia is really a thing. It most definitely is, and even the better in shape you get, I feel like the worse it gets. But I'm at a point now where I am happy and I'm content with the way I look, which is like a relieving feeling if you know what it's like to have a little bit of body dysmorphia. 5 lessons. Focus is your superpower, and there's only so much of it available each day, right? This is really big. Seasons of taking it slow and relaxing are dangerous, right? Comfort and complacency can easily creep in, but they are necessary to recharge. A big one for me was you need to sell the experience and outcome over selling the process and features. This was a huge turning point for me in my sales process and my clients. One must be happy and fulfilled with oneself before entering a relationship. This is really, really important. If you're single and you're looking at getting into the dating market, you need to make sure that you are as optimized as possible and you are happy on the inside. This could mean therapy. This could mean the gym, probably both. You need to make sure that you're leveling up and you're your best self before you go into a relationship. And awareness and self-reflection are 2 extremely important parts of self-development and personal growth. 2 things that I wish I could redo. Spend less on clothes and shoes. I definitely went on a little bit of a spending spree for a while there. And another one would be spend more time in Sydney with my friends and family. I didn't get to see them as much as what I wanted to. 3 opportunities I missed. Honestly, I don't feel like I've missed any. Why? Because I'm very decisive and I'm confident and competent in knowing what I want to do. And I'm very decisive. So I don't feel like I missed out on anything. If there was something that I was going to do and I wanted to do it, I would have done it. And then vice versa. Weak points. Spending behaviors, definitely spending a little bit too much there. And then, the last couple of months, just spending a little bit too much time fluffing around at home and by the pool in my building. Discipline needs to be exercised here a little bit more. All right, step 2. Now that you've gone through this here, you've gotten some clarity on where you're at. Now we can actually plan out some of the goals. See, it's important to gain an understanding of where you're at first before we can then actually plan out this monk mode. So goals and rules. Let's get into goals. Spend 30 to 60 minutes getting clear on your goals in these 5 areas. I'm not going to read over all of this. If you want the swipe file, click the link below or message me, whatever. Just reach out to me and you'll be able to get it. But essentially, we want a goal in these 5 core areas: business, financial, relational, personal, and health. Now, there's 5. If you don't have all 5 and there's just 1 or 2 you want to focus on, then that is also completely fine. For me, this 90-day period, I'm going all fucking in all areas of my life. You might only need to focus on a business goal for a shorter period of time, then please do that with your monk mode. But my business goals, instead of having a 10-year, 5-year, 3-year, and 90-day sprint, I've just gone straight to the 90-day sprint because I've got a lot of clarity on what my other big goals are external to this. In the swipe file, you'll see there's a 3-year, 1 year, and 90 day. So there's a bit more in there for you to do it. But my 90-day business goals is I wanted to add an extra 8K in monthly recurring revenue to my current business. I want to help another 5 coaches get to 10K a month. I'd like to grow my email list by 500. Now you see here, there's actually multiple goals, but even though there's multiple in here, they all sort of funnel into one based on what I plan on doing here. And then my final business goal is to optimize my sales funnel. So this is top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. Tofu is I'm looking at just optimizing my lead gen, continuing to use Instagram follow ads, then plus also running a lead magnet campaign. Mofu is nurturing my current audience, so YouTube, email, content, retargeting ads, and then monthly masterclasses. And then Bofu is going to be sales. So just generating more conversations, selling via a Google Doc, and then regular low ticket product sales as well. Financial goals. Basically, I want to add an extra 20K into my savings over the next 90 days and then get my Amex down to 0. Even though it's only a few grand off 0 now, it would be nice to have that at 0. Relational goals. Essentially, I want to visit my family in Sydney a lot more and then just improve my understanding of relationship dynamics. Like I said, I'm currently single at the time of filming this, and in my opinion, you need to be the 10.0 version of yourself. So this would be the absolute best version of yourself that you want to give to the world. And for me right now, understanding relationships and being my best in a relationship is something that I'm heavily focused on, because my next relationship, I want to make sure that I show up at my absolute best. Personal goals, quite straightforward. I actually want to learn how to play golf. And then I'd like to start seeing a new psychologist. Even though I don't feel depressed, I don't have any sad or negative thoughts, I believe every single person should go to therapy because it's important for personal growth that you understand your upbringing and how you are and how you think, because that influences a lot of the actions that you take in your business and your life. And then my health goals is I ideally want to get down to 10% body fat. I would say that I'm probably sitting at, maybe 13% right now. So I'm not very far off, but ideally get to 10% or less. And that will be really, really cool. Rules. This is a big one. So we've got some goals listed out here, but it's important to have some rules in place. Monk mode is all about being focused and disciplined. To do so, you need rules to follow. To get clear on your rules, start by gaining clarity on all the distractions you currently face in day-to-day life. So for me, Netflix and TV shows, doom scrolling on my phone, and the apartment building pool. I always find myself down at the pool at the moment, laying in the sun, which honestly I do not regret, but it definitely hurts the growth and speed trajectory of my business. There are some examples inside of here as well that you can check out once you get this file. But for me, these are the top 3 distractions at the moment. And then some rules is I'll be following a strict animal-based diet, this should say, animal-based diet, with one off meal plan per week. So instead of saying a cheat meal, it's just going to be like, I don't know, a Mexican meal or something like that. I don't really crave shit food anyway. 10 minutes of meditation a day is a rule, daily exercise. So I'll be hitting the gym probably 5 times a week, 6 times a week, but there'll also be walking in there. TV for only 1 hour a day. Strict sleep and wake routine, 5 a.m. wake up, 9 p.m. sleep. And then if I do want to go to the pool, it's only on Sundays if it's sunny, and that's it. That's literally it. They're the rules that I have to follow for the next 90 days, and you'd be surprised by doing that how many other things you will eliminate, or I will eliminate or stop doing that will keep me focused. That's the key here. Now, we should have some clarity on what you want to do. Now, you see here I've got 90-day sprint. This is because my monk mode is going to be 90 days. Yours might only be 2 weeks. It might only be 4. It might be 30 days. It might be 60 days. However long, just make sure that you change this and you think about the timeline for these goals that you're working towards. If you don't have any money coming in right now, say in your online coaching business, and you want to be doing $20,000 a month in 30 days, that's probably not going to happen. So just also be realistic with that. Step 3 is plan and strategy. The framework for planning to achieve your goals in monk mode needs to include the following: a tangible and measurable sprint goal, habits to support those goals, strategies, key performance indicators or KPIs, and then processes and tasks. So let's get into the sort of the back end of this now. We'll get into a tangible and measurable sprint goal. So if I break down what my goals were, it was add 8K in monthly recurring revenue via a document, get 5 coaches to 10K a month, grow my email list by 500, optimize my sales funnel, which is tofu, mofu, bofu, add an extra 20K plus to my savings account, get my Amex to 0, visit my family in Sydney 1 to 2 times, improve my understanding of relationship dynamics, learn how to play golf, and get to 10% body fat or less. Now, habits to support those goals. These are the small, non-negotiable habits that you will do to support your sprint goals. Choose 2 to 5, and you'll see I've actually got a fucking shitload in here. But in saying that, these are I'm getting ahead of myself here. Some of these I already do. To be honest, most of them I already do, hence why there are so many here. You may not need this many, but there's a whole bunch of habits inside of here. Now, to keep this video timely, I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but as we get down into strategies, you'll see this is now the how that you'll actually get to that tangible goal. So feel free to go do some research on how you can get to your goal, but these are sort of, I guess, that's what it is, the strategy, right? These are the strategies that I need to follow to get to the goals that I want to get to. Once you're clear on what those strategies are, then you can move into your KPIs. Now I'm going to skip down to KPIs and then the process and tasks because it kind of consolidates all these sections and it just keeps this video as short as possible for you. So if we get into the KPIs, essentially key performance indicators are measurable actions that you take that will move you closer towards your goals for this particular monk mode sprint. This takes you from theorizing strategies to execution. So for me, these are all of the KPIs or things or inputs or actions that I need to be doing on a regular basis to get me to where I want to get to. Now, you'll see that there's 15 here. It's a lot, right? However, a lot of these I already have in play. So it's a matter of maintaining some of this to continue the forward momentum and then implementing some of them. And then some of these are just like one-off things as well. So once you've got your KPIs listed out, we then want to break these down into processes and tasks. So here's where I'll walk you through sort of my step-by-step breakdown, and this is where you'll sort of see my plan falling into place here. Here, You'll take your to-do list and plan when you'll execute these tasks. When planning, please also be mindful of your time and capacity. So if you work a 9-to-5 job and you're trying to implement all of these crazy things, just keep in mind that you might be biting off a little bit more than you can chew. And here's where having a calendar is going to be insanely important. Like, you need to have a calendar to do this. So start by reviewing each sprint goal and the KPIs associated with it. Then take those goals and KPIs and come up with a plan for when you'll actually act on them. Be specific with the days and times here. So business, here we go. So it was DD. It's add 8K monthly recurring revenue, 5 coaches to 10K, email list plus 500, and then optimize my sales funnel. The KPIs will be all of these things here. So essentially it's 3 call to actions to my audience a week, aiming for 3 to 5 conversations a day with ideal prospects. I'll be posting this content to my audience. I plan to run 1 to 2 cash campaigns, which is just like a marketing promo. I'll be running 1 masterclass a month. So I'll be basically running a bonus call for my paid coaching clients, and I'll be teaching them on something, and then I'll be offering people from the external world to pay a small price to come and attend that call and learn a thing or two. And then obviously once they see that, they'll probably want to join and then get in on the action with Freedom Coach. I'll be communicating with my clients 2 to 3 times per week, plus possibly even offering those one-to-one clients to have extra calls to keep them moving forward. I'll have 2 Instagram follower ads running, and then 2 to 3 lead magnet ads running as well. This is obviously going to build my audience for my sales funnel. Now the process, here it is. This is literally all you do when you boil it down. I just need to follow a content and promotional cadence. So I'll plan that out in my calendar, and then all I got to do is allocate time to build and optimize my lead gen systems. So this is working on the sales funnel. So you can see here that like it goes from being like lots of stuff, but once you actually boil it down, it's like these are just the 2 things I have to do. Like there are a lot of actions involved, but basically like that's only really these 2 processes that I have to follow each week or at whatever cadence it is, and it'll fall into place. Financial, pretty straightforward. So as you can see, I'm very heavy on the business side right now, and then the other side's not so heavy. So my financial sprint goal, 20K savings into the bank account on top of what I've got, plus get my Amex down. Here, all I got to do is save 1 to 2 grand a week and put 500 to 1K towards my Amex. And then literally the process for that is a 5-minute job. Every Friday when I pay my rent, I'll then obviously just transfer some money into those other accounts to pay the card down and put money into the savings. Relational goal, pretty straightforward. I'm going to visit my family, or I want to visit my family, and then just improve my relationship, my understanding of relationship dynamics. The KPIs there is seeing a psychologist, most likely bi-weekly. I'll read for 30 minutes a day, and then I'll book a trip to Sydney. The process, follow a daily routine to incorporate reading, go to a psychologist appointment, and work out when I want to go to Sydney. Like that's the process, right? It's now, like again, once it's boiled down, it's pretty fucking straightforward shit. Personal sprint goal, learn how to play golf, practice 1 to 2 times a week, find and hire a coach, and then implement that into my calendar. And then my health goals, under 10% body fat. I'll be doing this amount of activity. Soak Bathhouse is like a kind of like a spa massage place where I'll go bi-weekly. And then I also want to get into a little bit of boxing. So I'll possibly join a boxing gym and then build out my routine in my Google Calendar. Now, moving on from there, hopefully all that's clear so far. I'm trying to keep this as timely as possible. I see we're at 30 minutes already. This went way longer than I was hoping. But basically what you can do now and what I'm going to do, I haven't done it yet because I need to sleep on this now. But I wanted to get this video out. I was pumped to get this video out before I started tomorrow. But essentially tomorrow morning, what I'm doing is I'll sit down and I'll plan out what my focus is going to be over the next sort of, I mean, it's a funky time to start this, but like over the next sort of 3 months is I'll plan out, okay, in April, for the rest of April, I'm going to do this. For May, I'll be doing this, and June, I'll do this. So it's looking at just prioritizing things and then building out a bit of a game plan. So now I know what to focus on week to week. Other things that I'll be then focusing on is I'll be building a routine in this app called Structured, and it's just like a daily routine flow where it's just like a simple check by check. It's a simple step-by-step checklist. So these would be all of my KPIs in list format where I can just check those off each day. I'll have a day tracking app. So essentially I've already got it set up here. Basically on my home screen, it just says monk mode. You probably can't see it very well, but it says monk mode 90 days. And then that will just basically count down. So then it's just that sort of, keeping things front of mind. Vision board wallpaper. So if you were to look at my phone now, you probably can't see it too well, but there's a vision board on there with all of the things I'm working towards. And then I'll be reflecting in the AM and the PM. So basically here I've got a little journal in my Notion account. And if I click on this day here, you'll see we've got an AM reflection. So in the mornings, I'll be going through this stuff, some affirmations and just reflecting. And then in the PM, I'll be basically reflecting on how my day went and then being able to reflect on the day itself to see what I need to focus on and then potentially course correct for tomorrow. So That, my friend, is monk mode in a nutshell, plus my plan. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of clarity on what monk mode is. You get a bit of an insight into what I'm focusing on over the next 3 months if you give a shit about that, which you probably don't, but some people find it interesting. But then also, what I've walked you through as well is how you can go and implement this yourself. So this has kind of been like a double whammy. I've kind of killed two birds with one stone sort of thing, as they would say. But hope you got a lot of value out of this video. If you do want to swipe this resource, there'll be a link down below this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching this somewhere else and you want it, just send me a message on Instagram. I'm sure you know where to find me, and I'll be able to send it across to you. Hope you got a lot of value. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, like, do all of that fancy stuff, and I'll see you on the other side.